Hello and welcome to another episode of the Farr Show, where I am Damien Farr, and tonight we're doing something different. We're in my house with this sweet, sweet chrome mic that I have yet to use because it's not as nice as the mic in the studio, but it still sounds pretty good, and it's chrome. So, what are we talking about tonight? Well, before we get too far into it, it is No Pants November, and I don't want to lose the microphone, so... Well, it is chrome, but I don't want it to, scratch. I'll just do this one-handed. There you go. Final No Pants November here. I keep looking over at the screen for some reason. So, what are we talking about tonight? We're talking about 3 movies here. Originally, I was going to include Tick, Tick, Boom, because I like Andrew Garfield as an actor, but something happened, and I realized it a long time ago. I'm not a big musical guy, and I've said that multiple times. So, musical, it's out. But, we're talking Ghostbusters Afterlife, King Richard, and Rocky IV Ultimate Director's Cut. Or I think they're calling it, looking down here at the script, Rocky IV, Rocky vs. Drago, the Ultimate Director's Cut. Which, we'll get to that in a second. Let's start talking about Ghostbusters Afterlife, where I want to talk about some of the basic info. It's directed by Jason Reitman, who is the son of Ivan Reitman, the guy who directed the first 2 Ghostbusters. And he also directed Thank You for Smoking and Up in the Air, which are 2 really good movies. I love Thank You for Smoking. I think if I remember correctly, I put it on my favorite movies of all time list. That movie is just so unique in the way it's done that I love it, and I can't not love it more. So that's one of those movies that I would definitely put here. Up in the Air is also really good as well. I would say that's a good movie. If you haven't seen it, go see both those movies. He's done other movies, obviously, but those are the 2 that I think of when it comes to mind for Jason Reitman. It's written by Gail Keane and Jason Reitman. I don't know who Gail Keane is. I didn't know who she was. Didn't look it up, honestly. Because, let's be honest, this movie isn't great. If you're expecting a lot out of this movie, just don't. So, we're only going to talk about a couple cast members. We got Finn Wolfhard as Trevor. He's the older brother. And then we got Paul Rudd as Chad Groberson. He's in it. There's other cast members as well, but honestly, this movie is not worth watching. If you grew up with the old Ghostbusters movies, you're not going to like this. Your kids may enjoy it, but you're not going to like it. I personally was like, why am I watching this? What am I doing here? I watched this movie, and the plot is pretty similar to the original Ghostbusters, except instead it's a family. Oh, there's earthquakes and stuff. They added some things, but it's too similar to the original Ghostbusters. And I know what you're thinking, Damien, aren't you the guy who really liked The Force Awakens, which is just A New Hope? Yes, but before we get too far into it, Force Awakens, idea-wise, was similar to A New Hope. Don't get me wrong there. It was A New Hope, pretty much. But it was the first movie that did that. Meaning the first movie in a series that did it where it's like, oh, we're going to be the same as one of the old ones, kind of a thing that wasn't a ripoff, for lack of a better term. When I say that, I mean other movies have done it. But big blockbusters have not, made original movie, and then came back to the original movie and been like, yep, we're remaking it pretty much, which is perfectly fine. I mean, when you look at an action movie, let's be honest, as much as I like Rocky, they're the same movies over and over again. They're the same. It's a boxing movie. Oh, here's the villain. You gotta fight him, beat him, win. Okay. They're the same movie, except the first one. The first one was really original. Creed was, honestly, a copy of that, and I was okay with that because it's so well acted. Well, this movie is not well acted and not well done, so it's okay. It's got the original cast, though, at one point, which is kind of cool. Spoiler alert, Harold Ramis kind of shows up. He doesn't say anything. They got his ghost, which I think was a mistake, other than the fact that all of them looking at him was kind of cool. So, the plot is pretty much just the original Ghostbusters, just more about family and not a business. Then we go to King Richard, which Ghostbusters Afterlife I give an FA. King Richard I give an FA as well. Basic info, it's directed by some guy named Renilo Marcus Green and written by Zach Balin. Never heard of either of these two. The reason you want to see this is, let's be honest, Will Smith's going for an Oscar. That's the best way to put it. He's going for an Oscar. He hasn't won yet. He wants a best actor award, I think, and he's going for it. He hasn't been doing like serious acting for a while, and that's cool to see. I'm excited to see him go back to serious acting to an extent. So Will Smith is Richard Williams, and then John Berthal as Rick Machini. I know there's other actors and actresses, but there's so many movies that we're talking about tonight that, it's just worth talking about those two. Will Smith obviously is Will Smith. John Berthal is the Punisher, so that's why I put him in here. So, is it a good movie? It's better than Ghostbusters, I think, but, that may change daily. Let's be honest, neither of these two are going to be on my favorite movies of the year list. Neither of them are going to be on the worst movies of the year either, so I guess that's a positive in a way, but, it's definitely a personal preference. I think Will Smith did good. I think John Berthal did good as well, but do I think this movie needed to be made? I mean, it's a cool idea, but I feel like they focus too much on him being Will Smith, being the main guy instead of the daughters, which is fine, I get it. It makes sense that they would. But I feel like that was a missed opportunity. I think this movie is a bit too long as well. Trimmed it down. It's a 2.5-hour movie. Trimmed it down to 2 hours. It probably would have been a good flow. Probably would have been higher rated in my mind as well. But, happens. So, and now we're going to throw in Tick, Tick, Boom here. I watched the first 5 minutes of it. Too musically for me. I can deal with musicals to an extent. The perfect musical in my mind is Blues Brothers. And that's because the fact is, it's not always a musical. There's normal scenes that happen. They sing and dance and all this stuff in the right times. Most musicals do not do that. People just sing and dance whenever, which is weird. You're not going to sing and dance in real life unless you're in a situation like the shower. So I just kind of was like, nope, out. Then we got the final movie we're talking about, which is Rocky IV, Rocky vs. Drago, the Ultimate Director's Cut. Who named it, first off? This is a dumb name. Just call it Rocky IV. Or just call it Rocky vs. Drago. Rocky IV Director's Cut. You don't have to put Ultimate there. There's only been one Director's Cut of Rocky IV. This is it. So, what do I think of it? As a huge fan of Rocky, I think this is a good... It's hit or miss. I love Rocky IV. Do I think this is better than Rocky IV, or do I think it's on par? I think there's a little more heart in this one. Like, they kind of show the Apollo death has a little bit more waning on Rocky. But at the same time, it's kind of like, this is still Rocky IV. When I saw the reviews, they're like, they humanized Drago a little bit more. They give him, like, a scene more. They don't really humanize him, though. You get to see more of Adrian. Like, there was one scene that always confused me is when Rocky's leaving. She doesn't hug him or anything. They hug beforehand, and then she's looking out the window at him. So that makes sense, actually. That added scene is good. The fact that, Rocky and Apollo are talking about Drago and how he's like, I want to fight him. And this happens before the little dinner table scene, which is great. They add more. The knockout at the end is different as well. I did watch them back to back, but I'm going to be honest. There's not much different. There's maybe some different shots here and there, but not enough to change the story. So it's personal preference. I would say maybe give it a watch or a rent, but it's not one of those movies that you need to have. I mean, if you like Rocky IV, you're going to like this new version. It's pretty much the same movie, just some minor changes. But if you like all the Rocky movies, you're going to like it. If you don't like Rocky IV, you're probably still not going to like this one, honestly. So I would say skip it if you don't like Rocky IV, but I'd give it an FAR. I don't know if I can put it in favorite films of the year because it is a director's cut, but then again, I put Zack Snyder's Justice League here, so I think I'm putting it in here. So, what did you think of Ghostbusters Afterlife, King Richard, Tick, Tick, Boom, and then Rocky IV, the Ultimate Director's Cut? Or Rocky IV, Rocky vs. Drago, the Ultimate Director's Cut. Tell me in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and have a far off night.